Your silence speaks volumes. Your absence teaches more than presence ever could. In a world that often demands noise, confrontation, and immediate reaction, you choose the quieter path, the one less traveled by those who seek validation in every exchange. This is not surrender. This is not weakness. This is the profound strength found in deliberate absence, a fortress built brick by brick from self-preservation and dignity. When the weight of toxic or draining relationships presses heavy on your spirit, the courage to step away, to withdraw, not out of fear, but out of fierce love for yourself, is a triumph of will. It is an act of quiet rebellion against chaos, an assertion of the boundaries that protect your essence. You don't need to explain your retreat. You don't owe an apology for choosing peace over conflict. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that what lies outside our control, others' reactions, their judgments, their pain, is not ours to carry. What remains within your grasp is your own presence or absence, your own choice to engage or to step back. This is the core of Stoic wisdom, the mastery of the self through control over your responses, not over the world around you. When you embrace this, absence becomes not a void but a mirror, reflecting the true character of those around you, revealing their intentions and vulnerabilities in the silent space you leave behind. Your silence is not empty. It is charged with meaning, a signal that resonates beyond words. When you withdraw, you force others to confront the reality of your absence, to reckon with the gaps your presence once filled. This is not punishment. It is a pause, a space for reflection, for reckoning, for growth. Let them wonder. Let them sit with the discomfort that only your absence can bring. Your silence is a catalyst for their self-awareness, a quiet teacher whose lessons unfold in the stillness you create. Detachment is not indifference, it is the deliberate choice to preserve your energy for what nourishes your soul. This choice is not made lightly. It is born from the deep well of emotional intelligence, the understanding that some battles are not yours to fight, that some wounds cannot be healed through confrontation. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. In stepping back, you reclaim your power. You no longer feed the fire of toxicity with your attention. Instead, you let the flame burn itself out, watching as the patterns unravel in the absence of your participation. This is resilience, silent, steadfast, and unyielding. Your absence becomes a presence of its own kind. It speaks louder than any argument, louder than any plea for acknowledgement. It is the voice of self-respect, echoing through the chambers of your life with unwavering clarity. You don't need to justify why you choose to be absent. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that to be truly free, you must first master yourself, and part of that mastery is knowing when to step away. When you do, you shift the balance of power, not by force, but by calm, deliberate withdrawal. Let them see the space you leave behind. Let them feel the weight of your absence. It is in this quiet void that true reflection begins. They may respond with confusion, anger, or silence. None of this is yours to control. Detachment is the shield that guards your peace against the storm of others' emotions. You become the calm center in a world that demands constant noise. This is not retreat, it is strategy. It is the wisdom of knowing that presence without respect is a form of surrender. You don't need to fill the silence with explanations or defenses. Your absence is your statement. It is a boundary etched not in stone but in the firm resolve of your spirit. This boundary protects your emotional sovereignty, your right to peace. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your silence is your power, your absence your armor. In choosing absence over confrontation, you honor yourself. You honor the truth that not every battle is meant to be fought, not every voice must be raised. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that the obstacle itself is the way. In your absence, you create space for growth, not just for yourself, but for those who remain. Your silence invites them to look inward, to face the reflections you leave behind. This is the art of silent resilience, not the absence of strength, but the presence of profound, unshakable power. Let them wonder why you have stepped back. Let them grapple with the emptiness you leave. Your absence is a mirror, reflecting truths that words often obscure. You don't need to chase recognition or approval. You don't need to explain your withdrawal. Detachment is not abandonment, it is self-respect in its purest form. You become the quiet force that shifts the tides, not through noise or fury, but through the steady, unwavering choice to protect your peace. Your silence speaks volumes. Your absence teaches more than presence ever could. You don't need to prove your strength with words. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. You don't need to shout to be heard. True influence is not measured by volume or the number of battles won in the arena of voices clamoring for attention. It is forged quietly, in the depths of Stoic detachment, where the soul learns to stand firmly independent of external validation. Detachment is the art of freeing yourself from the chains of others' opinions, of releasing the craving for approval that so often entangles the heart. This is where real resilience thrives, not in confrontation, but in calm endurance, in the steady refusal to surrender your peace for the sake of fleeting recognition. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that our power lies in the space between stimulus and response, in the choice to remain unmoved by external chaos. When you cultivate this space through detachment, you build a sanctuary within, a place of emotional autonomy where your worth is not tethered to the fluctuating tides of others' moods or judgments. This inner fortress becomes your refuge and your weapon. You wield your absence like a sword that cuts through the noise, a shield that guards your serenity. Let them speak. Let them wonder why you no longer respond. Your quiet withdrawal is a message louder than any outburst. It is the profound statement that your energy is precious, not to be squandered on those who fail to appreciate it. You don't need to engage in endless battles that drain your spirit. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds you that peace is found not in controlling others but in mastering yourself. This mastery is the calm, steady choice to withdraw your energy where it is not valued, to refuse participation in the drama that seeks to consume you. In this quiet detachment, a powerful transformation unfolds. Absence creates space for others to face their own behaviors without the distraction of your direct involvement. You become the mirror reflecting their patterns back to them, but you do so without judgment or interference. This is not passive avoidance, it is active presence in a higher form. You are present in your absence, embodying the wisdom to know when to speak and when to step back. This is the strength of the Stoic mind, the ability to choose peace and growth over conflict and control. Your silence is a sanctuary for your soul. It preserves your energy for what truly matters, your own growth, your own peace. You become the calm in the storm, the unshakable presence that refuses to be drawn into chaos. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that the obstacle itself is the way, and in your choice to detach, you transform challenges into opportunities for inner resilience. Your absence is not emptiness, it is a powerful force that shapes the landscape of your life. Let your absence be a quiet invitation to change. It disrupts old patterns, breaking the cycles that no longer serve growth. You don't need to force transformation in others. True influence arises naturally when you embody calm detachment. Others witness the consequences of their actions in the space you leave behind. This is the silent power of resilience, a presence that commands respect not through words but through the integrity of your boundaries and the steadfastness of your peace. Detachment is not a withdrawal from life, it is a deeper engagement with what truly matters. It is the choice to invest your energy wisely, to nurture the parts of your world that reciprocate your care and respect. You don't need to explain why you no longer engage in draining conflicts. Your absence is your answer. It is a boundary that protects your emotional sovereignty and mental clarity. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that true freedom is found in mastery over oneself, and detachment is an essential step on this journey. You become the quiet center in a world of noise, the steady rock that refuses to be moved by the storms of others' demands. This is resilience, not the loud declaration of strength but the silent endurance of spirit. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. Your absence speaks for itself. It is the language of self-respect, the voice of a soul that has learned to walk away from what harms it with grace and certainty. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that our trials are the crucibles in which our character is forged. In choosing detachment, you step into this crucible with open eyes and steady heart. You allow life's natural course to reveal truths, knowing that your peace is not dependent on others' recognition but on your own mastery. Let them wonder at the stillness you maintain. Let them observe the calm that follows your quiet withdrawal. This is not absence of power but presence in a higher form. You don't need to engage in every battle or respond to every provocation. Your silence is not surrender, it is strategy. It is the wisdom to know that some fights are not yours to fight, that some energies are better preserved than expended. In this Stoic detachment, you claim your sovereignty. You become the architect of your inner world, building walls of peace that no external force can breach. Your absence is a powerful presence, a steady beacon that guides you through life's tempests with grace and resilience. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds you that the obstacle itself is the way, and in this way, you find not defeat but victory. You don't need to seek validation from the world. You don't need to prove your worth in the eyes of others. Detachment frees you from these chains, allowing you to live authentically and with quiet confidence. Your influence is not measured by the applause you receive but by the integrity with which you maintain your peace. This is the essence of silent resilience, a presence that commands respect through calm endurance and steadfast boundaries. Your silence is your power. Your absence is your strength. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. You don't need to justify your boundaries. Setting them is not an act of defiance but a profound declaration of self-respect. Absence is not abandonment, it is protection, a shield woven from the threads of emotional sovereignty and mental clarity. When you recognize that your presence no longer serves mutual growth or well-being, you honor the wisdom to step back. This is not passive avoidance but intentional withdrawal, a boundary carved with deliberate care and deep understanding. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that the first rule of engagement is mastery over oneself, and part of that mastery is discerning where your energy is best spent. Emotional intelligence guides you here, whispering the truths your heart already knows. Not every connection warrants your presence, not every conflict deserves your attention. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. This boundary you set through absence is a sanctuary for your soul. It protects the fragile spaces within where peace resides. When toxicity or manipulation seeks to invade, you do not flinch. You do not engage. Instead, you withdraw with grace, reclaiming your power and peace. Let them wonder at the space you leave behind. Let them grapple with the silence that follows. Your absence is not a retreat into weakness but a strategic advance in the preservation of your dignity. You don't need to explain your withdrawal. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that the obstacle itself is the way, and sometimes that way leads through stillness and detachment. Boundaries are not barriers to connection but bridges to authentic relationships rooted in mutual respect and growth. When you choose absence as a boundary, you refuse to be tethered to cycles of pain or manipulation. You choose freedom. Emotional intelligence is your compass in this journey. It allows you to read the subtle signs, when presence becomes harm, when engagement breeds exhaustion. This awareness is hard-won and precious. It demands courage to say no, to step away, to choose absence over the chaos that threatens your peace. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your absence is a statement of self-mastery. It says, I will not sacrifice my well-being for the comfort of others who refuse to change. It is a declaration that your peace is non-negotiable. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that true freedom comes not from external circumstance but from inner mastery. In setting boundaries through absence, you claim that freedom. Let them feel the weight of your choice, not as punishment but as a reflection of your value. You don't need to engage in endless explanations or justifications. Your absence speaks for itself. It is the voice of a soul that has learned to walk away from what harms it with dignity and strength. Detachment is not indifference, it is the highest form of engagement with life, rooted in self-respect. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that challenges are the crucibles of character, and in setting boundaries through absence, you forge resilience. Your silence is your power, your absence your armor. In this space you create by stepping back, you protect your emotional sovereignty. You defend your right to mental clarity and peace. You don't need to chase approval or validation from those who drain your spirit. Your absence is a boundary that preserves your essence. It is a space where your soul can breathe, heal, and grow. Let them see the strength in your withdrawal. Let them understand that absence is not weakness but a form of self-mastery. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that the obstacle itself is the way, and in this way, you become the architect of your inner peace. You choose where to invest your presence, and you choose absence when it serves your growth. You don't need to be everywhere, to say yes to every demand, to engage in every conflict. Your energy is sacred. Your peace is priceless. Absence is the boundary that protects these gifts. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your silence is your power. Your absence is your strength. You don't need to justify your boundaries. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds you that mastery over yourself is the foundation of all freedom. In setting boundaries through absence, you claim that freedom, and you walk forward with quiet dignity and resolute peace. Your absence is not a void, it is a mirror. A silent reflection that holds up truths others might not be ready to face. When you step away from unhealthy dynamics, you do more than protect yourself, you disrupt the patterns that have long held sway. This disruption is not violent or loud, it is quiet, deliberate, and profound. It invites introspection, compelling others to look inward without the distraction of your direct involvement. This is the subtle power of absence, it speaks louder than any attempt to correct or control. Detachment is a form of presence. You become present in your absence, embodying calm in a world that often demands chaos. Let them witness the consequences of their actions, not through confrontation but through the steady, unwavering space you create by stepping back. This space is a crucible for transformation, not because you force change, but because your absence reveals truths that words often fail to convey. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that the obstacle itself is the way, and in this way, your quiet withdrawal becomes an agent of change. You don't need to explain your absence. You don't need to justify your withdrawal. Your focus remains on your own growth, your own journey toward self-mastery. Trying to correct or explain to others often entangles you in the very patterns you seek to escape. Instead, you embody the Stoic ideal, maintaining your peace and integrity regardless of others' responses. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your silence is a language others must learn to understand. It is not emptiness but a canvas upon which reflection unfolds. The absence you create acts as a catalyst for self-awareness. In the quiet spaces you leave, others confront the impact of their actions, their choices, and their behaviors. This confrontation is not yours to manage or control. Detachment is your shield and your gift, allowing transformation to arise organically from the space your absence creates. Let them wonder at the stillness you maintain. Let them feel the weight of your non-presence. This is not abandonment but a sacred space for growth. In stepping away, you grant others the opportunity to face themselves honestly, without the distraction of your presence. You don't need to force change, change arises naturally when given room to breathe. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that the obstacle itself is the way, and often the way leads through quiet reflection and patient endurance. You become the silent witness to your own growth, the calm observer of others' journeys. Your absence is not a withdrawal from life but a deeper engagement with your own path. You protect your peace while allowing the natural course of life to unfold. This is resilience in its highest form, the ability to hold steady within, regardless of outer turbulence. You don't need to chase recognition or validation. Your value is not dependent on others' acknowledgement. Your absence embodies your worth. It is a boundary that honors your needs and your growth. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that true peace arises when you stop chasing external approval and instead become the master of your own presence, whether seen or unseen. In this quiet power, you find freedom. You walk forward with the knowledge that your absence is not a loss but a gain, a space where transformation can begin. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your silence speaks volumes. Your absence teaches more than presence ever could. Yet beyond the quiet withdrawal lies a deeper truth, the strength of living authentically through silent resilience. It is the courage to honor your needs and boundaries without apology, the grace to embody your value without seeking approval. This is the unshakable presence born from mastering the art of silent resilience, not through loud declarations or desperate attempts for recognition, but through steadfast commitment to self-respect and growth. You don't need to be visible to be powerful. Your strength is not measured by how often you are seen, but by the integrity with which you hold your peace. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that the obstacle itself is the way. In your case, the obstacle is the temptation to seek validation outside yourself. When you resist this pull, when you stop chasing recognition, you step into true freedom. Your absence becomes a statement of your worth, a presence that needs no applause. Let them talk, wonder, or even misunderstand. None of this diminishes your value. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your growth is a personal journey, not a performance for others. The mastery of self means you are no longer tethered to their reactions. You walk your path with calm assurance, grounded in the knowledge that your peace is your own to keep. Detachment is the soil in which authentic living takes root. When you stop seeking external approval, you create space for genuine self-expression. Your boundaries, once lines drawn in defense, become pillars of your identity. You don't need to explain why you choose absence, your life speaks for itself. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He reminds us that the obstacle itself is the way, and through mastering detachment, you turn challenges into stepping stones toward authenticity. Your resilience is silent but unyielding. It is the quiet force that shapes your life without fanfare or drama. You embody peace in a world that often mistakes noise for strength. You become the calm in the storm, the steady presence that no turmoil can unsettle. This is the power of silent resilience, the ability to hold your ground with grace and unwavering resolve. You don't need to prove your worth through words or actions. Your absence is an embodiment of your value. It is a boundary that protects your soul and nurtures your growth. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that true peace arises when you stop chasing recognition and instead embody your worth quietly but firmly. In this embodiment lies freedom, a freedom that no external force can take away. Let your life be a testament to the power of silent resilience. Embrace the practice of self-respect, growth, and authentic living as lifelong companions. Your silence is not emptiness but fullness, the fullness of a soul that has learned to endure, transform, and thrive beyond the noise. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake. Your presence, even in absence, becomes a beacon. A quiet light that guides you and others toward deeper understanding and peace. The obstacle on the path is Marcus Aurelius. He teaches that the obstacle itself is the way, and in your way, you find not just survival, but true flourishing. Your silent resilience is your legacy, a testament to the power of mastering oneself and living authentically. You don't need to seek approval or validation. You don't need to explain or defend your choices. Your silence is your power, your absence is your strength. You endure. You transform. You become the quiet strength that no storm can shake.